This is the Purple Chair Podcast, and my name is Laura Labuda. I'm your scissor wizard, color alchemist, and lover of all things purple. And yes, the chair is purple. And I'm here with my co-hostess with the mostest, Whitney Morgan.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm so good.
I feel like shit. I just lied to you.
Why do you feel like shit, Laura? Please tell us. After you bald-faced lied to me.
It's that whole, like, you don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable thing. I feel so poopy. I donated plasma yesterday for the first time ever, and it was quite an experience.
An experience? Why? What brought you to?
So I have a couple of friends I have a friend and my grandfather who have cancer, and I just thought it would be a nice way to, like, kind of give back to the community. Yeah. And I had a customer who came in that was like, hey, here's my referral. And I'm like, oh, that sounds good. And you make a little bit of money.
Right.
But I was not prepared for the day yesterday at all.
What happened, Laura? Please expand. Tell us.
Okay.
Please.
So on your first appointment, you have to do all this, like, intake stuff.
Uh-huh.
And part of the documentation is that they have to document every single tattoo on your body.
Wow. How did that go? Was that fun?
It took an hour and a half. So they bring up this screen that shows a body, and she clicks everywhere I have a tattoo, and you have to write a description in each one. And so she's like working on my face. Like, I have a tattoo on my face, I have one in my ear, I have one inside my lip, my chest, my arms. She started lumping them together. This became one tattoo, and she stopped at 33.
33.
And when I left the room, I was like, oh my God, I forgot one.
So at least 34 is what we're at.
Yeah.
At minimum.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. So I figured we could talk about self-care today, because I feel like gloopy instead of poopy.
Gloopy and poopy.
So when I say self-care, what comes to your mind?
A bath. Like a nice hot bath salts, little candle lit. Really just anything that makes me feel, I guess, grounded, for lack of a better word, in my body.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of times when we talk about self-care, it's that image of a bubble bath and wine and all that, like, ooey gooey. But or coming to the hair salon. Like, I think a lot of times people, especially in my industry, we think of self-care as like coming to get my hair shampooed or getting my hair done, which is totally valid. It's all parts of self-care. But there's different types of self-care. I've come up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 different types of self-care.
I'm ready. Give it to me.
Okay. So the first type of self-care that I came up with was physical self-care. So this is all taking care of our bodies, like physically taking care of our bodies. Especially since I gave plasma yesterday, they don't recommend that you do vigorous activity afterwards. I still went to dance.
How'd that go for you?
It was not a good idea.
It went.
I will not do that again. So physical self-care is not your, like, super vigorous, like, gym routine, but like things that you enjoy, like yoga or dance, right? I love dance.
Right. Going for a walk. Eating
a balanced diet, fruits and veggies, getting adequate sleep. But this can also include your bubble bath. So, like, physical, are there things that you do that are physical self-care?
I don't know. Probably. I mean, I feel like my little walk every day, even though I do have a 2-year-old attached to my hip, is part of my self-care. I love going on that walk for the most part.
Being out in nature.
Right.
Yeah. So what I noticed with these list of, like, self-care categories that I've come up with, they all overlap. So, like, there's a little bit of, like,
like a Venn diagram.
Yeah. So some of the things that I like to do for my physical self-care are, and it's been especially important after donating plasma, is eating, right? Because I seriously feel like somebody ran over me with a Mack truck and backed up and did it again, because they take your...
Give us the story, Laura,
Here's
please.
the trigger warning.
Trigger warning, if you don't like needles, just...
That's what it sounded like. I'm so sorry. It's so true, though. It's not for the faint of heart. But what they do is they like take your blood out and then they filter out the plasma and then they put it back in your body. And it's not necessarily like the spot that hurts, but it's like the
process
where they put it back in. And I mean, I was there for like 3.5 hours doing all the paperwork. Anyway, so I part of that whole like when it came to my self-care afterwards, I had to be really honest with myself, and I tried to push myself through dance, and
gotta learn to set those boundaries with yourself.
Yeah, that's on this list too. Let's just segue right into that one. I put boundaries under intellectual and professional self-care.
Yeah.
So for me here, I wrote learning something new, seeking mentorship, clear boundaries, and taking breaks at work.
Yes. Very important things. I'm trying to think. Intellectual self-care. You should have prepped me, Laura.
I did not.
I know.
We can always ask God if we can start over.
No, it's fine. I'm going to be the one editing it, so it doesn't really matter. I can cut my rambles out.
She's about to make herself look good and not me.
No, I would never. Intellectual self-care. I feel like as far as like professional, it's very different for me because I don't work like a regular 9-to-5 job anymore. But I remember my biggest thing working in like a job setting was a lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on mine. Because people not doing their stuff always falls onto whoever's behind. And a lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on mine.
See, I'm such a say yes and a fixer that I'm like, oh yeah, we'll just take care of this.
I did that for a very long
but then
time.
Then it puts extra stress on me, which I mean, I kind of do to myself, and sometimes it's okay. But my biggest not red flag. What is the
a red flag
tornado
to
warning?
You, yeah.
Is taking breaks. When I wrote that on here, I was like, oh, because I will literally stand behind the chair for hours and not take a break.
I've seen you do it.
I will not eat lunch. I will be like, I'm gonna run to the bathroom. I'll be right back. And most of the time, you'd be like, don't run.
Don't run. Take your time.
Take your
By
time.
all means.
Yeah.
Go pee, girl.
Yeah.
Go piss, girl.
So this is just. I think when I gave plasma, I gave my last fuck.
They took it away, actually. They siphoned it out of your body, and they didn't give it back.
Yeah. Yeah, which, I'm here for, because, like, it really took that wall down. I guess that, we could throw that under professionalism, too. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so. So the other one that I have here is emotional. I guess I should have listed them out for you first.
It's okay. We're here.
Emotional self-care includes becoming more in tune with your emotions, checking in with yourself and being honest. I think I just heard the ding, 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 ding. Again. Being mindful to not bottle up your emotions. Ideas include journaling and meditation, being creative. And I wrote breathing again. So.
In through your nose, out through your mouth, baby.
In your nose, out through your mouth.
Yeah, journaling is definitely a big one that I do as far as like emotional.
How often do you journal?
I try and do it every day. This week I have done it every morning. It depends on when I decide to get out of bed in the morning, because I have to be at the nanny house by 7:15. So if I get up at 5:30, I normally have like 15-20 minutes to journal. But if I don't get up till 5:45, it's not happening.
That's very early.
Yeah, it's really early in the morning. And like no coffee yet or anything. It's just too much.
So my morning routine is like I like to wake up, make a coffee, and then this is when I like to journal or meditate or like pull a card. And I really try hard to like do this every day. And on the days that I don't do it, I feel like my shit is spiraling out of control.
Oh yeah, sometimes I will have days where I'm like, I feel like I'm losing my mind. What is wrong with me? And then I go to open up my journal. I'm like, I haven't journaled in like 4 days. That's what's wrong with me. All of my thoughts are still in here, and I haven't gotten them out yet.
It's like creating that container to put those emotions on paper. Because once you put them down, then you like let them out.
I always feel so much better, even if it's something that like I'm like really upset about or like really angry about. I'm always, by the time I get it out on paper, I'm like, okay, I can see their side of it, or like I can see how this happened, how I got so upset.
That was very profound. Journaling.
Journaling. I love a journal.
I think also what could fall underneath this emotional, like that's linked into talking about emotional self-care is we were supposed to record this podcast last week. Was that last week?
Last week, yeah.
And I just had a really challenging day, and you guys showed up to set all the things up, and I don't know if, I'm sure you could see it coming down the hallway like, I can't do it. And I was also like that, checking in with yourself and being honest. I'm a person that I've committed to something. I'm going to power through it and like get it done and do the thing. But like,
and that could also fall into like professional self-care too. Was not even, because it wasn't even you that was like, okay, we're not going to do it. We were like, nope, not happening today. It's just not worth it. It's not worth.
Yeah, I would have done it had you guys both not been.
But it wasn't worth it.
No, not good.
No. Mercury was retrograding, and there were too many things going on in this building on that day.
What day was that?
It was last Wednesday? I don't know. I'd have to check my calendar.
So Mercury went Mercury went retrograde on the 23rd of August. So like we're recording this within that time frame, and things like communication and like all the wacky stuff starts happening. So
everything breaks. My hair ties.
Do you want to know what happened?
Please tell me.
On Friday, speaking of breaking things, on Friday I did something I've never done before.
Please tell me what you did.
I did hair barefoot.
Yeah?
I broke my shoe.
How did you break your shoe?
I don't know. I was wearing a flip-flop, and the little toe part just broke in half. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll glue it back together. And so I glued it back together, and it's so, thank God State Board didn't come around that day.
They just seen you with hair on your feet.
I had no shoes on. I felt really grounded that day, but also like, what kind of breakthrough did I have breaking my shoe? And
you broke through something. And
then I went outside and my umbrella was broken.
Yup.
This episode, we have to call it Giggle Fest 2023.
Yeah, literally. That's like how I spent 3.5 hours trying to connect a brand new scanner to my brand new laptop that should have connected. No issue. No problem at all. It still didn't. It still hasn't.
Mercury.
He's being a dick.
Oh. Okay,
he needs to chill.
Tell us how you really feel.
That's how I feel. That's exactly how I feel.
So during this Mercury retrograde time, interestingly enough, retrograde, let's talk about what Mercury retrograde is. We'll come back to the self-care in just a second.
Right.
But
we'll circle back.
You did a lot of research in
I've
preparation
done some
for
research.
that. Tell it.
So, Mercury retrograde basically takes your zodiac sign that is in Mercury, your Mercury placement, and flips it on its head. So like a lot of people will start feeling the exact opposite of their Mercury placement. So like I personally have been feeling like I'm going clinically insane. I'm walking around. I told Laura, I feel like I'm walking around on my hands instead of on my feet. Like everything is just upside down. If something can go wrong for me, it has gone wrong. If something can piss me off, it has more than pissed me off. What's funny is with Laura, I was digging into her chart.
Yeah, I feel completely normal during a retrograde.
An Aries Mercury. And then
is that
yeah, okay. And then you were do you remember your big three?
No.
I didn't bring my notes, Laura. You said we weren't doing Mercury retrograde.
I don't.
Okay. Anyway, your Aries Mercury, the way that it interacts with Mercury retrograde is it makes you feel more calm. That like Aries energy basically keeps pushing you through so that you don't get as big of an effect of the retrograde as everybody else does. And that like keeps you moving. That's why you feel refreshed, renewed. What were we saying?
So when it comes
All
to
your
retrograde,
words.
I start with the RE words because I think retrograde, RE. So like this is the time where I remodel and reconfigure and redo and rest. Anything that starts with an RE is really what comes forward for me during a retrograde. So like when everyone else is running around like chickens with their head cut off, I'm like, I feel peaceful.
And Laura's just like sitting in her little happy bubble.
Reevaluate. I do use that word a lot.
Yeah. And I feel like this has been a season of reevaluating for you. Starting with like the shadow period.
RE. Yeah, so I think, you know, during a retrograde, so the way I have to have logic to Mercury retrograde.
We've talked about this.
Because I love to just believe in the magical things, but like I have to have like some logic in it, or else I like feel like I can't believe in it. So like when I think about Mercury from our point sitting here on Earth, as we see Mercury, obviously it's rotating around the sun, right? But we're so far away. When it goes on the back side of its rotation, it just like it literally looks like it's going like this.
Right? Oh yeah, it looks like it's going backwards.
Yeah, so it looks like it's going backwards, but it's not really going backwards, still moving forward. So like that's my logic.
Yeah.
Stance on it.
To get into it.
Yes.
And see, I don't need the logic. I'm just like, okay, if you say so. That sounds good to me.
Yeah. But it's especially important for self-care to like, I even ramp up my self-care during this time. So another form of self-care that I have listed here is spiritual self-care. So it doesn't have to be like rooted in religion. But these are the things that nourish your soul, that connect you with the divine, that create inner peace. Again, with meditation, breathing, spending time in nature. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Attending spiritual gatherings.
Which we did.
We did. We took a class on
crystal balls
and
palmistry and intuition.
Yeah. Did you enjoy that?
I did. I had so much fun. You can ask anybody that has spoken to me in the last couple of days.
What was your biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway was definitely all the talk on intuition. And that's because I don't know. We didn't talk after class. So the night before the class, I had a dream about Nanny where she was literally beating me over the head and was like, you have to trust your gut. You have to listen to your intuition. Like nobody else is going to get you where you need to go. Open your eyes and you'll be able to see. And I like woke up with a headache. And that's part of why I texted you and was like, I've got to get my hair fixed. Like everything is wrong. Nothing's right. And then I came in here and you were like, let's take the class. And I didn't even know what it was on. And she started talking about intuition. And I was like, okay, I hear you, Nanny, loud and clear. I'm here. I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm listening. My eyes are open. I'm trusting my gut. What else do you have for me?
Yeah, and you wound up here like on total whim.
Yeah,
because
literally.
I didn't have an opening. You text me and it just kind of like
you had a cancellation.
I had a cancellation and I was like, "Can you be here in 40 minutes?"
Yeah. And I said, "Sure, let me jump in the shower."
Yeah. There was a lot of breakthroughs last week. Broke my shoe. I broke my umbrella. I'm like, am I supposed to dance in the rain?
I think we should dance in the rain.
Yes,
I think it would do all of us good if we just did a little bit of dancing barefoot in the rain.
But even in that class, we drew cards, and I don't know if you're familiar with Saint Anthony, but he's the patron saint, the Catholic
things, right?
of lost souls. Yeah, so you can pray to Saint Anthony. So when I was little, we still lived in Pennsylvania. When I was little, Laura, because I'm, bigger.
Still little Laura.
Yeah. I lost my bike helmet, and I was not allowed to ride my bike without my bike helmet. So I went up to my Aunt Patsy's house, and my Aunt Patsy, she was a mystical human being. She was so cool. She told me to pray to St. Anthony, and it was raining, and I was walking down the middle of the street, and we lived in this like trailer court. I was walking down the middle of the street, like, please, praying to St. Anthony about my bike helmet. And I even told my mom when I got home, I was like, I'm praying to St. Anthony about my bike helmet. Like, I lost it. Would you you would believe.
I believe.
It was on my bed when I got home.
I believe it.
So I pulled a St. Anthony card. So the things that I've been working on recently are like just reclaiming myself, taking back the pieces of myself that I've given away so freely. And so also self-care, Mercury retrograde, it kind of all like goes hand in hand.
Yeah, for sure.
So the last couple of like self-care categories, I had social, because we're social beings. We need the connection, which I think kind of links into the spiritual. And then we can do like financial self-care, environmental self-care, sensory self-care. So self-care kind of like brings that wholeness back to you. So we were just talking about all the different categories and types of self-care. Would you say that you practice this daily, self-care daily?
In ways, yeah. I definitely think I practice self-care daily. I don't think that I'm doing everything I could for myself every day, but yeah. Would you say?
I would say yes, because I don't see self-care as the bubble bath. Well, that's really a great way to like do a big self-care ritual,
visualize it,
like, or even to come get your haircut and do the whole like self-care day. It's these little things all day long where I make this decision or eat this thing or drink this coconut water or whatever. Like those are decisions made around self-care and the way that I can be the best person that I can be. And even post plasma giving, I have to really double down on the self-care because I feel completely drained. My blood sugar feels really low. So which like, you know, if you have a plasma story out there in the internet worlds, I want to hear about it.
You got a good one. We'd like to hear it.
Yeah. So self-care is a daily,
an effort to put yourself first, almost.
High five. That is awesome. Yeah. So, I practice self-care here every day for you guys. So I love being part of your self-care ritual and self-care treats. So come into the Purple Chair for your self-care experience. I do the Reiki infused shampoo session, which is like a super deep relaxation. You can find me all over all the socials. You can find me Laura Labuda, the Purple Chair, the Healing Hairstylist, all the places. So happy self-caring.
Happy self-care and happy Mercury retrograde.
Yes.
We're halfway through.
Later, taters.
Adios.
Whee!